Well, hello and welcome to another exciting episode of legendsandmentors.com, which is quickly becoming one of those talked about video interview talk shows on the net. So our last guest, Ron Malesis, people loved him. We had over 5,000 people attend and watch Ron Malesis share his duplication strategies with us on the last show. If you missed that, you can at the very end find out how to get access to our last show. Our special guest mentor today is Matthias Leyva from Argentina. And Matthias is on the U.S. national soccer team for 4 years, and he's had an exciting roller coaster ride as an entrepreneur for the last 6 years. He's 24 years old and has a lot to offer the world and a lot to offer you today. Now, why are we doing this show? What is this show about? Are we here just to sell you a bunch of cool new stuff? No, we're not. This show doesn't have any fancy sales pitches, no commercials. It's really the brainchild of me realizing that I've learned so much from other people. Why not bring these people, some of the young and upcoming exciting new talent out there like Matthias or Ron Malesis, who's been in the network marketing industry for 30 years. We've got Eric Lawfome, Todd Falcone. We've got a number of other exciting people lined up to come onto this show. But what's exciting is you learning from the people that have already been where you want to go, leveraging off other people's efforts. I think to sum up the show, it's about leverage. You know, really leveraging from what other people have already done, what you want to do, so you can find out what's been working for people, what's still working today, and what I want to be aware of in the future. So on that note, I've been in the direct sales industry for 14 years myself, built groups that have generated anywhere from 6 to 10 million in annual online sales. Most of that's done through online marketing. In addition to that, I've been a success coach for the last 10 years with personally coaching over 2,400 clients and having tens of thousands buy my online info products. And if I could sum up the last 10 years of my life in short, I would tell you that what I've learned as a success coach and direct sales marketer is that most entrepreneurs are one idea away from greatness. They're 3 feet from gold. They're a few degrees away from their boiling point where results really start to pop in their business. And the only reason that they're not there yet is because they've got to be open and willing to take in some new information, some new ideas that can overshadow their blind spots, push them beyond their limiting beliefs. And again, that's the purpose of this show. We want to be a catalyst for change for you. We want to cause a paradigm shift in you with real, straightforward information that we know works. Not just what's working years ago, but what's working today and what will continue to work into the future. So with that in mind, let me go over a couple quick ideas so you have a great experience here. Number one, don't touch that dial. This interview keeps getting better and better and better. We get into a live role play at the end that you're going to love, so stay here for the full 20 minutes. If you want to go full screen, it's probably going to be a better visual experience for you. In the lower right corner, you can click to go full screen. If you really like the show, we'd love for you to give us a like. This is obviously a free show, but we appreciate social currency, so there should be a like button somewhere on this page. Make sure to click it. And again, share the show with others. There's no fancy sales pitches, commercials, nothing like that here. This is just pure 100% content for you to assist you in getting to your next level of success. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and transport over to our live interview with Matthias. Just share with everyone again about your early on part of your network marketing career and just some of the struggles that you faced, if you would.
Absolutely. I got introduced to the industry when I was 18 years old. I had no skills. I had nothing really. I had no income, no savings, no job. It was right in the transition out of high school. And I saw the vision. I saw the opportunity. But I lacked the skills. I lacked the language. I lacked the communication, the marketing, just to know how the business. So for the first 2 years, I struggled miserably. I struggled just as most people who have made it to the top have struggled. And it was hard. It sucked. And the worst part about it was no one else believed in me, but I saw something that I knew no one else saw, right? So I stuck there, and I played the game, and I've been playing it now for the last 5 or 6 years, and I can tell you what, my life has changed because of the industry. Not just the cool stuff, but who I am as a person. It's completely changed. If you go back 6 years ago, I was just a little punk kid. Now I'm this man, this person that inspires people and just continues to grow, and it's pretty amazing. Who you become is more valuable than what you have because of this industry.
Well, I want to ask you about that because again, you went through a cycle I went through of achieving a lot of success, early on in your career. Some people would say, and it's like you got the trophies and the house and the cars, and it's a little bit of a hollow victory. Can you speak to that a little bit, Matthias?
It was extremely hollow. I was 20 years old, and I had everything that I envisioned, having when I first started setting goals 2 years before that. So everything came in my life just how it was written down. But I got to this a top. And I felt disconnected from family, from friends, from society, because I had all this stuff, but I was very hollow. And it was kind of like a bamboo stick, right? I mean, it's just hollow. It's just sitting out there. So I didn't really like that. I felt lonely. I got very lonely, to be honest. And it was a turning point in my life when I realized that I had to do this more from a state of inspired than just motivated to buy things. And that's where I went from, just kind of a mid-range person to, boom, peaking and continuously growing and pushing myself to the next level.
Awesome. And what would you say has been, just a huge catalyst for you, in your career? You've gone through a lot of different cycles. You learn the power of attraction marketing. But what would you say is maybe 1, 2, or 3, just maybe aha moments, turning points in your career that you could share with others?
Well, it would be 3 specific people that walked into my life at 3 different times. It was the first mentor I had that kind of opened me up to the industry and taught me the ropes of it. And then the second mentor came in and taught me the business life in terms of running like a business and treating it like a job, and then really being here every single day and focusing the business. And then you came around and you taught me communication, persuasion. But what you really taught me is how to get into people and how to figure out these people's desires at a deeper level. Because when I was first prospecting, it was all about, what do you want in 2 to 5 years? And they would always do the same thing: cars, money, cool things. But when you kind of put me under your wing and started teaching me some of this other, more advanced, more knowledge of this industry, you got me more in a state of present. And you allowed me to now open myself up where I've now been able to open up other people. And that is more inspiring than having, a $50,000 Mercedes-Benz outside.
So let me jump in here on that. So what I hear you saying is that the person that you become in the process, the person that you see in the mirror, that personal transformation, that has become really the trophy and the reward for you, becoming a better leader, becoming a better person, becoming the best version of yourself. That's become the victory for you. And that has really overshined what a lot of people are after. And that's, some of the self-indulgent, no judgment there, but some of the self-indulgent goals that a lot of people are after that money can buy them. So that's why I respect you so much, Matthias. Am I hitting the nail on the head here with you?
You hit it hard.
I hit it hard. All right. So let's go back to when, you got into our prospecting mastery workshop. Here you are generating great leads, having a lot of success with, in the business. And then you came into our prospecting mastery course. And what is just a couple tidbits that you learned? Because you're one of our students that you were only in about 4 or 5 weeks, and then you were off to the races recruiting. So bring us in a little bit of that learning curve. What shifted for you there? What happened? And, again, you adapted so quickly. It was like, you were on fire. So bring us into that a little bit.
Well, absolutely. I was very fortunate to have learned, lead generation, and I got really good at that, but I sucked at converting leads, right? And when I came into you guys' course, I would say, probably the worst prospecting language. My language just was not to par with what is expected after to produce results.
Right.
So when I got into your guys' training and I went to your training, I sat there every night and day and just listened to the trainings and just repeated and soaked in what you would say on the trainings and repeated that stuff in the mirror, wrote that stuff down. And all that really, what it did is it opened up a whole new other language barrier for me. And I was able to communicate at different levels with people where now it was not so much me trying to hammer a sale, kind of like what you see there with Ben Affleck. It was more of me persuading and influencing this person to take action in life, not just my product or whatever in life. And once I went through that and I started implementing this stuff with my calls, my list, just people in life, it was only a matter of just time before things changed again, where it was like, I influence so many people, just not just business, but friends, parents, relatives, girlfriend, kids, whatever it is. I have this magnetic approach to these people that they just follow me because of the things I say, how I say it, and how I really hit home on the things I say. And that's what your guys' courses and training have allowed me to develop, is that communication barrier.
Absolutely. And so instead of, let's go back into a little bit more tangible things that you believe people could maybe take away from what you've learned that they can apply. Just recently you came to Vegas with me and you kind of shadowed me a little bit, which was a ton of fun. We walked around and we were just coaching people in the moment. you took that away and you started applying that and started, again, improving your recruiting skills for the networking company that you're involved in. Take us in a little bit of some of that strategy, to teach people today how they can use what what you've been taking away, what you've been implementing. How is this, when you talk about communication skills, what specifically do you do that allows you to be better at recruiting and selling?
Well, I find out that when I'm on the phone with my prospects, they're all motivated. Right? We're all motivated, right? We're here because, people are motivated to get our ads. But what triggered me was being inspired. And once I was able to find that trigger in people and really find out the reason why, and one of the questions that you taught me was, what's happened to you in the last 12 months that's caused you to come to my website, that's caused you to look at opportunity, and you keep repeating that and keep finding out that trigger. Yep. Now you have something that you can build off of. And if you can inspire someone from that trigger, not just from the motivational trigger, it's a completely different conversation.
And how do you find this stuff out? How do you find out what really inspires people? What do you got to do?
You got to ask good questions. And the question just comes from practice. And to be honest, the main question that I've been asking on my coaching calls that I've been doing is, what's going on in your life in the last 30 days, 60 days, last 12 months? And the minute I ask that, people start to open up and you really start to find out why they're on the phone with you. Why are they here? They're not just because of the money and stuff. There's something else going on. For example, the other day I was on the call with this lady, and the reason she doesn't want to go back to a job is because twice a week or 2 weeks out of the month, she has to take care of her mom that's 80 years old. And if she goes back to a job atmosphere, she can't do that. So her motives weren't so much of the financials. Her motives was just to be able to keep that opportunity to see her mom 2 times or 2 weeks out of the month. That was the trigger for her. And I was able to inspire her to see that that's why she has to do it, not because of the other stuff.
Well, and this is awesome because, again, it really is the magic of questions. And it's like you said, it's about finding, I love how you said that, it's about finding their triggers, right? They're inspirational triggers. And then the other triggers, I call it, are kind of their unfulfilled desire triggers, right? We're talking about people and they've got a desire, they want to fulfill it, whether that's spending more time with their mom or donating money to church or spending more time with their kids or whatever that is. And it's an unfulfilled desire, right? And when you start to get people to open up and talk about that, what do you notice happens within them, Matthias?
They become more real to you. They're not so much of a prospect anymore. They're just another friend, someone that you can create a relationship with. And when you have that kind of deep conversation, it's like having that conversation with a loved one or a girlfriend that you're just meeting. You kind of go from a girlfriend to a deeper state. You have that trigger. There's something there that triggers that. And when you can have that conversation with your prospects and just everyday life with people, and you can get deeper into that, you start to move people. And that's what you did to me through those courses and just spending time with you in Vegas. I mean, you moved me at a deeper level where it went from a should to a must. And that's where you catch people. You catch them from a should to a must. And it's been pretty life-changing just doing these coaching calls the last couple of weeks with just randoms. I mean, I don't even know these people in person. These are people from my list and contacts that I give them my time. And I really find out what is it, what's going on. And once I started doing that, it's pretty amazing, especially the feeling you get afterwards where you just inspired someone to take action. Yeah,
where you've caused a paradigm shift or at least an awareness shift, a point of view shift in them, right? And I've got some of the questions up here so you guys can look at these. One of the questions, Matthias, I believe you've been using is that one, second from the bottom. What is the biggest challenge that you've been experiencing? Because I know you've been prospecting network marketers recently. You've been asking this question. What kind of responses are you getting back from that question?
Well, there's actually, I asked the question twice, and the reason I asked it first is because they're going to give me the objection of what's their experience and biggest challenge with the industry.
Right.
And then from there, I go into, once I know that, okay, that's easy. Now I want to find out what are the motives, what's that deeper root behind that excuse or whatever. And once I started doing that, it started to trigger. People email me back, hey, great call, thank you very much for spending the time. I mean, that's how it's been working for me.
Right, and what something that you all want to write down that are watching this video right now is something called Probe 3 Deep, okay? Probe 3 Deep, and what that basically means is you ask 3 questions in a row on a topic to get beyond the surface layer. People are a lot like onions, right? They got many layers. And so when you start digging down deeper, into multiple layers, especially on topics that are emotional, like about their kids, about their profession, about their past, about their struggles, about their challenges, about their future. When you start talking to them in these genres, like Matthias said, at first you'll kind of get this surface answer. But if you stay there and use what I call keyword listening questions, that again you can see here up on the slide, you know, Matthias, when you say you've had some challenges with network marketing in the past, what do you mean specifically? Right? That's that digging question. Now I'm asking you to get detailed. Oh, really? Could you tell me a little more about that? Right? So, Matthias, why don't we role play real quick? I'm gonna let you be the coach, because you've been, you know, exceptional lately. I've heard you make some phone calls recently, and why don't you dig a little bit? Let me be a network marketer that just stopped on your website, and I gave you a call, and I'm just kind of fishing around, and then let's just have people see what you do, how you do it, and we'll kind of just go from there. We'll just do like a 3-minute mini role play. Does that sound good?
Start from the very beginning of the call or from that first question?
Let's just start from the beginning of the call. Just kind of what you do, and you can you know, kind of get into the meat quicker than you normally would. I know you'll spend, you know, 15, 20, 30 minutes on the phone if you got the right guy, but let's just kind of do a higher level version of that. All right, so here we go. So ring-a-ling-ling. Yeah, hello?
Joe?
Yeah, this is Joe.
Hey, Joe, it's Matthias here, Sacramento, California. How you doing today?
Good, man. I've been getting your emails for a bit and checking out. You got some cool content, man. I like your blog, and I like some of the stuff I'm seeing. So
awesome. I appreciate it. How long have you been in network marketing for?
I've been off and on for about 5 years.
5 years. Okay, so what is it about being off and on the last 5 years? Is it some challenges in the industry, or has it been more of some personal challenges that keeps you in the game?
You know, I get this. It's like I've got ADD or something. I don't know. I get excited about an opportunity, and then 2-3 months go by, and it like loses its luster, and then I jump in another opportunity, and then it loses its luster. You know, it's like I keep jumping around trying to find the right one.
Okay, I could appreciate that. I remember being in that same boat not too long ago. So let me ask you, what's going on in your life in the last 90 days, you know, a couple months that's caused you to come to my blog and seek some more value and information and get back into networking? Obviously, you said you've been in and out of it. What's going on now that's gotten you back into it?
Well, it's interesting you asked that, because I had like a really phenomenal thing. Just in January, I actually just got married, and we've already are expecting our first baby coming up here in June. So I've got to get my stuff together. You know, I don't want to be working at UPS. That's kind of been my fallback gig, where I usually work Monday through Thursday, 12-hour days driving a truck. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my family. You know, I really only have to make about $3,000 a month to be able to just stay home. And I've made $1,000, $1,500 a month in network marketing in the past. I just never sustained it. So just being at home with my new baby and my wife, it just, you know, that's my dream come true right there.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Now, let me ask you real quick. You mentioned that you'd made some money in the past with networking. What were some of the main reasons that you couldn't sustain that?
You know, I think the biggest thing was I just never had a solid leader. You know, it's like my leader would disappear and go off to another company or quit the business. I felt like I never had someone I could really latch on to. And maybe that's my fault for not seeking out proper mentorship. But, you know, that's just kind of what it's been like.
Right. So if I were to ask you, what moves you every day to wake up? I understand that you know, you've been doing the UPS for some time. You know, you like the networking, but every day you wake up, what's the reason you wake up and go to work for?
Well, last year, 2011, it was just, you know, wake up and just do my job and get by life and have fun on Friday nights. But ever since I got married and then found out my wife's, you know, pregnant, my whole day is about waking up and going, how do I create the most ideal life for my family? You know, it's not going to be working at UPS, you know, and I know I've had a taste of success in network marketing. I want to pick the right thing and sustain it. You know, I mean, Matthias, let me ask you, how, you know, do you feel that you have the right company right now? Do you feel like you have a solid company that you're involved with right now?
Well, absolutely, but you know, before I share with you what I do, I really want to find out what are your motives and why. And at the end of the day, the reason I do this with everyone that calls me for my blog is because you can have all the tools and all the mentoring, but if you don't have a present state of mind and why you're doing this and you're inspired to do this, it'll never work. So going back to what you're saying, you know, 2-3 years down the road from now, how would you see your life being with your family? You know, what would your life be from the minute you wake up until the day? If you had a passive income, what would you do with your daughter and your wife that you're not able to do right now?
Well, we live in a pretty crappy apartment right now, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say that. But the first thing I want to do is move to a better neighborhood. There's about 10 miles from my house is a really nice neighborhood. The houses are about 300 grand. Nothing crazy, but more than I've ever spent on a house. So, moving to that neighborhood is huge. My wife actually works right now, and she works 2 shifts, actually. She works as a school teacher, and she works as a waitress at Applebee's. So to get her out of the Applebee's job would be huge. And right now, we don't make enough money for her to not do that. So just where she could just be a school teacher, we could live in a nice neighborhood. And then my daughter can start growing up in a place where, she feels comfortable with the neighborhood she's in, and she feels comfortable with the school system. So I've got, like I said, I want to create this ideal life for my family.
Okay, I respect that. There's an old saying in the industry, when a student is ready, the coach appears. And that's happened to me, when I went through a transition and things started changing in my industry, and I kind of come from a similar background as you, so I really appreciate, you opening up and being truthful in terms of I really know why you're doing this. So if you have a pen and paper in front of you, let me kind of give you some details, and let me at least influence you and share with you what this industry is about, and give you kind of a top-to-bottom view, because most people get involved either through a friend or a family and have it from the bottom up. Let me share with you how this industry can really change your life and make that goal of yours, of your family and your daughter and getting out of UPS a reality, but you've got to kind of change how you're approaching it. Are you open to doing that?
Yeah, I'm totally open, man. I'm totally open.
Perfect. So that's the flow, and that's how I take the calls.
That's awesome.
There, I teach them a couple bullet points on how to view the industry, and it's just kind of rapport building after that, and it ends up being more of a relationship building conversation than just a prospecting call.
I love it, and that's so different on how many of you watching this video right now or on this actual live video cast right now are operating in your business. Now, granted, some of you have got a script from me and you're using that script. And one of the reasons I brought Matthias on today is I want you to understand what it's like to move away from the script and get focused on the person you're talking to. You get focused on building a relationship and not focused on what's the next question I'm going to ask them. Right? Because the next question is going to naturally appear as you're focused and totally present and honing in on them. And Matthias, you do have a strategy, and this strategy, it appears to be, again, I'm really focused on knowing your motives, and you never really said this, but you said it without saying it. A lot of people waste your time, and you want to make sure that I'm not going to waste your time. And you didn't actually say that, but that's kind of what you presupposed, and you did it in a very cool way. So some of you in the live video cast right now, why don't you guys interact with us? What are you picking up from Matthias today? This is exciting. This is awesome content. This is impromptu. This is raw, real, live with Matthias Leyva right here, right now. Got people saying this is awesome stuff. But, again, communicate in the chat with us, guys. And on that note, Matthias, I've got another gentleman I want to bring out here as well. And before I do, is there any last comments, words of wisdom, anything that you would share? You've had a lot of aha moments recently in the last few months, and you've, what's one last maybe juicy nugget that you'd like to share with people to kind of give them, something to go after, something that they can utilize in their life, and kind of wrap it up for your portion for today.
Well, 8 months ago, I had a conversation with you, and this is what triggered kind of the snowball effect for the last couple of months. And you said, you got to be more present, and every week's a life cycle. And once I started treating every day as a new day, receiving it, and treating every week as a new life cycle, I went from such a state of emotion to a state of inspired to being present. And the moment I became present in conversations, I was present with people, and that energy flows. And that's kind of what the law of attraction really is that presence, being present in that conversation in that time.
I love it. And kind of a cool story about you and I, and you comment on this, and then we'll kind of wrap up for our portion today. But one of the cool stories between you and I is this concept that I don't know if everyone watching this right now is actually going to completely pick this up from the nutshell version. But this idea of recruiting people, but not necessarily recruiting them in your company, just recruiting them into your influence circle or your network, right? Yeah. And that's kind of because Matthias and I are, we're not in the same networking companies. We've never been in the same networking companies. Yet in a way, I've recruited his energy at least, into my, inner circle, so to speak. And Matthias, talk a little bit about that, because that's another aha moment for you, and it's a huge thing for people to get, that your goal is not to get everybody you like into your company right now today. If that's your goal, then you're going to be a little jaded in your influence power, because you're not truly looking what's best for them, right? And it's not that I haven't talked to you about joining me in business, because I have, but that wasn't the right fit for you at the right time. And so just, again, share a little bit more in that area, and then I want to bring out our next guest, Corey.
Well, I've been using everything you've taught me, not just in business, but all walks of life. So when I'm out there and about, whether it's girlfriends, parents, friends, whoever, cousin, the moment I have the opportunity to inspire them and plant a seed, that seed has always come back some way, somehow, whether it's been a business effect, or it's been a personal effect, or it's been that person has led me to another resource, but it all started from me being able to plant that seed. And if you plant enough seeds and you keep watering that garden, it's amazing what happens. And it's true, things do start to appear in your life because of the seeds you planted. And I'm just living proof that it happens every single day. I mean, within minutes, the universe reacts from all the seeds you planted. It's pretty crazy. But it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling.
That's awesome. And that reminds me of a book by Paulo Coelho, and I don't know if it's The Pilgrimage or it's another one of his books, but he talks about builders and planters. Does anyone know what book I'm talking about? Builders and planters. And you have the builders are the people that are they're building walls around them and planning their whole life and trying to figure everything out all the time and how the future is going to look, and they end up kind of trapping themselves in this reality they create. And then you have the planters, like Matthias is talking about, where his goal is to go out and plant seeds of inspiration in as many people and touch as many people as he can every day, with the certainty and faith that the right people will come back at the right time. And if they don't come back, that's okay too, right? Isn't that kind of the story of the planter, Matthias?
Absolutely. And, I learned this through the famous Jim Rohn. You plant enough seeds, in the wintertime and then they sprout in the springtime, and it's crazy. I planted seeds in wintertime, and we're going into spring, and new opportunities and interactions are coming. I mean, 3 years ago, I wasn't on a call with you hanging out, right? But we planted seeds 8-9 months ago, and look, they've prospered.
Absolutely. And Matthias, again, I've got so much respect for you. I see a lot of me and you, and I'm just so proud of you for how much you've grown. And I mean, you're like an unstoppable force, dude. It's going to be cool to see you coming up in your 30s. And I'm glad I got to be a part of just seeing your brilliance. And you've got so much to offer the world, man. So thank you so much for being here today as an advisor and as someone that a lot of people can, aspire to be like and learn from. I think a lot of people are saying they got a lot of great nuggets.